And so glad to welcome onto the show Danville Admiral head football coach Steve Stonebraker. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good morning, Joe. Doing well this morning. Heading down the barrel of getting scrimmages started tonight. So exciting time of year.
Let's talk about that then. Tonight, who, where, what time? Give us the details, Coach.
Well, we're going to go to Gallatin County tonight for our first scrimmage, and that'll start at 6:30 Eastern time. So both of our scrimmages are away with some of the renovations being done to the stadium. Wanted to give that some extra time, and it was a good thing we did. So, we'll go to Gallatin County tonight, and then we'll head to South Laurel for next Friday night scrimmage.
There you go. So still work being done in the stadium. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's a kind of a good place to start off, Coach. You're taking over a program with a fan base that desires success. They want it. Danville School says, watch this. We're renovating the field. We're getting new lights. We're getting a new video board. We're getting a new scoreboard. Coach, you kind of come in to this program, all things moving in the right direction. Tell us how it's been your first handful of months at Danville, seeing kind of the new progress going up at the field, meeting the team and things like that.
Well, I tell everybody all the time, Joe, it's, really most everything's been better than anticipated. I haven't tried to, haven't had to pull as many teeth and that kind of thing as I thought that I probably would have to. So I've been pleasantly surprised with most everything. Of course, the administrative support's been really good, from the board level, of course, Superintendent Ron Ballard and the school board, making the decision to do some renovations to the stadium. And, of course, their hand was forced a little bit with some of the things that took place last year.
Right.
But if you're going to do things, and that was the thing that I said from the outset, if you're going to do things, let's make sure we're doing them first class and make sure we're doing them in a way that, for the next quarter century of Danville football utilizing that stadium, it's going to be first class, and we're going to have things there that really enhance the atmosphere for game nights. And we're doing that with the type of lighting that's going to be put in with the new LED flashing lights and those kind of things. And obviously with the video scoreboard, being able to have those type of things that most programs don't have at this point. And, that's something that sets you apart and makes you unique. I did not want to get turf. I think we were all on the same page in not getting turf with the Bermuda surface that we have. We have one of the best surfaces, probably the best natural surface in the state. So that's something now that makes us unique with so many programs now having turf. So, that was part of the thought process, part of the mindset in doing some of those things. And it's really coming along and down to the last little bit to get it ready for the August 22nd Pigskin Classic. That's going to be brought to you by the Ghost in Blue Foundation, which is our alumni foundation, and then also our co-sponsor, Community Trust Bank. So we're very thankful for them getting on board to sponsor the Pigskin Classic, as we take that back to 2 games this year. So it's previously, the last couple of years, I believe, just been 1 game. We're taking that back to a 2-game bowl this year. So we're going to get that back going among some other things.
Yeah.
The kids have been outstanding. The response we've gotten from them, Joe, we had a really good off season in the weight room. We're not where we need to be with that yet, but we're in a lot better place than we were in January. That's what I'm going to say, because their work in the off season was tremendous. So we're in a lot better place physically than we were 7 months ago.
Awesome.
They've been very coachable. We did a lot of install in the spring that led into the summer, and their effort, their coachability has been at a really good level to get them into a place to be ready for the football season here. So I'm excited about getting out and seeing them scrimmage somebody else this evening and seeing where we need to improve.
Yeah, that Pigskin Classic is going to be Friday, August 22nd, 6 o'clock, Bethlehem and Marion County, and then 8 o'clock will be Fort Knox versus Danville. Coach, you did something very unique, and I love this idea. Yesterday, you all posted on social media that for an opportunity for the seniors to be captains, to walk out onto the field as captains for the coin toss and things like that, that they had to pass a tradition test about the history of the Danville football program. As of now, Gavin Walker, Jacaven Walker, and Sasha Wade, all 3 passed the test, but the other seniors in the team can take it as many times as they want until they do pass the test. Tell us, Coach, what is it that made you want to go that route, kind of bringing that thought of the tradition, how important this program is to this community, and making that kind of the focal point of naming seniors as captains?
Well, one of the things that I've done in the recent years that I've been a head coach, and when I say that, it's probably the last 15 or so years, is I've had a rotation of captains.
Okay.
And we haven't necessarily voted on 2 to 4 kids or something like that as captains, because I think that sometimes can limit leadership that other guys can provide if they're not voted captains. So I like to have a system where there's a rotation of seniors that are out there as captains. That, it opens it up for all the seniors to feel like they can be leaders, and it opens it up to even juniors to feel like they can be leaders, because you don't necessarily have a set small group of kids as captains. But coming into the Danville program, one of the things that I knew needed to happen was we had to get the kids to understand what they were a part of and the rich tradition of the program that they play for and the program that they represent on a daily basis. That's something that really had to be done. So this was one of the ways in which I thought we could do that was the institution of the tradition test. So this is a test that has been constructed with the help of a lot of Ghost in Blue, whether they be former players, former coaches in the program, and it's a test of 70-plus questions that deal with the greatest players in the program, greatest coaches in the program, and there's been several. Deals with comeback wins. There's specific questions about situations where Danville's had great comeback wins, great last-second wins, players that have played through injury. There's multiple questions about that on there. So, there's a lot of questions that deal with different parts of the history of Danville football, and the seniors get the opportunity to take that test, pass it, and then they're in the rotation as captains. So, it's not only that they're in the rotation as captains, but they know some of the history of Danville football to be able to say, hey, Danville's been in this circumstance before. They've come out, the right way, and this happened, that happened, X, Y, Z. So just trying to get that connector for the kids to understand what they're a part of and what they represent. I think it was just a good way to do it.
Do you have one of the sample tests on you right now, Coach?
I don't have it on me right now, no.
Okay.
The only hard copies that I've got are the ones that we've given to the players. But, some of the questions date back to, 1927. Off the top of my head, that was the first year that, Danville had an undefeated season. So, that question's on there dating back to, to almost 100 years ago. So, we've got questions that span any era of Danville football.
Yeah, I would love if we can get you on next week, if you can just pull like 4 or 5 questions from the test, because I think you can quiz me. I'm not saying I'll get any of them right, but I think our listeners that appreciate and love Danville football would love to hear the questions that are on that test. And probably while they're listening in the home or in the car ride at this point to school, at this point next week would be going to school, would love to try to answer those questions that you ask the players. So next week, Coach, when we have you on, pull a couple of questions, 4 or 5 of them. You can ask me. Again, I'll try to answer them again. I could get them all wrong, but at least to let the listeners hear what the questions are. I bet they'd love that.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. Another thing we're going to do is on our video scoreboard every night is we'll have, and we'll have a sponsor for this, but we'll have a historical Danville football question that will pop up on that screen, and it'll be a question that's from the tradition test. So even coming out to our games, fans will be able to interact in that way with a question that's on the tradition test. But I'll be glad to do that for next week for sure.
That'd be great. Coach Steve Stonebraker. Coach, real quickly, because I want to make sure we talk about some of the players, and I know there's probably going to be no way you'll be able to touch on all of them, but tell us who are some players, Coach, that have shown either great leadership or great improvement, or you expect to have a pretty big year. I know we're still 2 weeks away, but you expect the way they're trending to have a pretty big year this year for you.
Yeah, we're gonna be young in spots this year. We're gonna have probably at least 4 freshmen starting, and we're gonna have a lot of others that'll see playing time on the field. Of our seniors, Sasha Wade has been somebody that has displayed strong leadership for us. He had a great off season. He moved his bench press up from 295 to 345, and that's a spectacular jump, because when you get to that level, you know, a lot of times you're tapering off, and it's hard to make that kind of jump. But he made that kind of jump in the last 6-7 months. But he's somebody that we're going to count on to play both ways. You know, we've moved him to center on offense. You know, and he's a heady kid. He's got the ability to make the calls there, but we'll also count on him on the defensive line as well. Jacaven Walker is somebody that we'll count on both sides of the ball for sure. You know, he'll play receiver, he'll play safety. Jaden Tandy is a young man that came back to us, and you know, he's going to have a big role for us as a tight end and also as an outside linebacker. He's been somebody that's been a pleasant surprise to see his growth this offseason. You have David Shelton, who's been a starter here, and you know, he'll play offensive guard for us and play a little bit of middle linebacker. Dyron Moody is back as a starter on the offensive line, and he'll also play some defensive line for us. So we've got quite a few guys there. Gavin Walker will play some both ways. He'll be a slot receiver, be a safety as well. So you know, we've got quite a few seniors that we're counting on. It's not our biggest class. We don't have as many seniors as we do juniors and freshmen, but you know, we've got some guys that we're going to count on for leadership there. We got some guys that have been around a little bit that, you know, obviously haven't had a lot of success, but I think with the way they're working and the way that they bought in, and I think this is not just as a senior group, but really as a team, you know, they're dying to have some success. And, you know, really, really working for that, and I'm looking forward to seeing them have some good Friday nights this fall.
Danville head coach Steve Stonebraker. Coach, we appreciate you so much being on. We'll talk again next week, and then the first week of the football season. We'll start talking every weekday morning about Admiral football and getting our fans geared up for the game that Friday night.